Hello and welcome back to the Professional Electrician YouTube channel. I'm Adam Stears and today I'm back for part 2 of the collaboration with Marshall Tufflex. I'm back here at the Hard Up Garage where I'm going to be installing a section of the base oil cable tray, but while I'm doing that I thought it'd be a good opportunity to discuss with you a few things that's overlooked. Electricians see cable tray on commercial products every single day, but choosing the right materials and supporting it correctly and ensuring it is suitable for the environment is just as important as the installation itself. So in this video, I'm going to show you a section of installation and explain the different types of cable tray available, when each one should be used, and cover some of the key things that you should think about before installing it. So what is cable tray? Cable tray is designed to support groups of electrical cables safely while keeping the installation organised and accessible. Unlike conduit, cables remain visible and easy to inspect, making future maintenance and additions much simpler. You'll find cable tray everywhere, from schools and offices to factories, warehouses and plant rooms. Today's installation is relatively straightforward. I have 2 car ramps here and I need to install the Marshall Tufflex medium duty steel cable tray down this side here using both cantilever arms and standoff brackets. But filming this is going to be a bit of a nightmare as there's all this stuff in the way. So what I'm going to do instead for demonstration purposes is build a rig here and show you the cable tray, the reducers, the standoff brackets, the fixings and the pre-made bends. One of the first decisions to make is choosing the correct materials, because different environments require different solutions. For most indoor commercial installs like today's project, pre-galvanized steel is usually the preferred option. It's strong, available in different load capacities and offers excellent durability. Working somewhere with high humidity or a corrosive environment such as water treatment facilities or food processing plants, PVC may be a much better choice because it won't corrode. For the harshest environments, including marine applications, chemical plants or exposed outdoor locations, GRP, which stands for glass reinforced polyester, offers exceptional corrosion resistance, UV resistance and low smoke zero halogen performance while remaining lighter than steel. I do like that you don't have to install joiners with this cable tray. Like any installation, preparation is key. The brackets carry not only the weight of the tray itself but also every cable that will be eventually installed, so getting the spacing right is essential. As cable tray installations develop, it's common for cable routes to change in size or direction, and that's where these accessories come into play. Right angle pre-made bends, T-pieces, 45-degree bends, internal bends, and reducers. As with most containment systems, very few installations are exactly the same from start to finish. You might begin with a wider tray carrying a larger number of circuits, but as the cable branches off around the building, you often don't need the same width all the way through the run. That's where a reducer comes in. It allows you to transition from one tray size to another, keeping the installation neat and ensuring you're only using the amount of containment you actually need. Not only does it give a much cleaner finish, but it also can help reduce material costs. There's no point installing a wider cable tray for the full length of the run if only a handful of cables are going to be carried beyond this point. Of course, there will be an occasion where a manufactured fitting isn't available, or perhaps you need a size that isn't standard. In those situations, it's useful to know how to fabricate your own reducer. It takes a little bit more time, but it's a valuable skill that allows you to adapt the installation while still achieving a professional result. If you've planned ahead, using a purpose-made fitting is usually the quickest option, but knowing how to fabricate one gives you that extra flexibility on site. Before any tray goes on the wall, it's always worth spending a few minutes thinking about the cable route. Where are cables likely to leave the tray? Will more circuits be added in the future? Is the tray going to need to reduce in size further along the run? Answering those questions before you start drilling can save a lot of time later and usually result in a much cleaner finish. Another important consideration is cable retention during a fire. The current wiring regulations require cables to be adequately supported using non-combustible fixings, not simply plastic cable ties that can fail when exposed to heat. I don't know if you've seen these before, but these to me are a little bit of a game changer. These linear cable clips provide a straightforward way of securing cables on the tray while helping the installation to comply with the current fire safety requirements. With the tray installation complete, it's time to start pulling in the cables. One of the biggest advantages of cable tray is how accessible it makes an installation. As circuits are added or altered over the years, cables are easy to inspect, identify and maintain without dismantling the containment system. As I pull these lengths of twin and earth into position, I'm taking a few moments to keep the cables running organised. A neat installation isn't just about appearance, it makes future testing, fault finding and any additional work much easier for whoever is working on the system. system. At this stage I'm using plastic cable ties simply to dress the cables and keep everything in place while the installation is being completed. They're useful for temporary organising the cable run, but they're not to be relied upon as the permanent means of support. Once everything is positioned correctly, I can install the linear cable tray clips. The 18th edition wiring regulations require wiring systems to be supported using non-combustible fixings, so they are not liable to premature collapse in the event of a fire. That's a requirement throughout the installation, not just an escape route. These spring steel linear clips provide a quick and effective way of retaining the cable securely within the tray while helping the installation comply with the current wiring regulations. They're simple to install, they keep the cables neatly contained, and they're one of those small details that makes a real difference to the overall quality, safety and compliance of the finished installation. With the cables now completely retained, the installation is complete and ready for service. That is my demo installation complete here for you today, and if you can just imagine that this wasn't on a wall but up on a ceiling, you can see how all the fixtures and fittings and fire supports all work in exactly the same way. So we've looked at how to select the correct cable tray material for the environment that you're working in, how you can install this cable tray system without any additional couplers, how reducers and bends simplify the change in direction of the cable tray, why fire resistant support is so important, and why you must always take into account your loading calculations before selecting any cable tray. Ultimately, it's you as the contractor to ensure that the installation is suitable for the environment that you're installing it in, and making sure that it's compliant with the current wiring regulations and capable of supporting both today's installation and also future expansion. I do hope you have found this video useful today. A big thank you to Professional Electrician, great working with you as always, and to Marshall Tufflex. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.